Hello and welcome to Wrestleopinionated. This is our weekly show all about the shows of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg, and this is...
Grumpy yet cheerful Matt Strange. And this is...
My dad's harder than your dad, Muir.
How are you guys?
Knowing that... One second, I know both mine and Muir's father situations.
I don't know. It's the only thing I can think of off the fly. We're going with it, boys.
How old were you when you last saw your dad, and what was the last physical activity he was doing? I need to weigh this up.
Well, he was a farmer his whole life, so, you know.
Oh, fair.
And 16, 17? I don't know. Anyway, let's carry on.
I was like 13, 14, and my dad played five-a-side and walked the Lake District, the big hills there.
Hills, oh!
He climbed mountains in the UK. Well, walked mountains a lot in the UK. I don't know if your dad probably could beat my dad. I'm guessing my dad's a bit older than your dad as well. What's your dad like, Morg? How's he going to fare in this fight?
My dad is now old. Back in the day, he was like karate expert and did a lot of going out with bands where you had to deal with going into some little Welsh village, and all the guys would be in the pub and all the girls had come to the gig, and so you chat up all the girls, and after that you'd have to deal with and they did once get chased out of Wales and had to have a police escort to get them back over the border.
Jesus. I could enter my stepdad, but I don't think that's fair in real dad competition. We don't need the guy who looks like Sylvester Stallone and was in One Para entering this competition of old men who did some activity.
I think your stepdad wins.
Yeah. But I think on our scale, Muir's dad's probably the youngest, and they've all had physical life. So I think, in fact, Muir's dad could beat my dad.
So this
podcast. So
it's important details, all right?
Yes. You started this. This might be the first time you've listened to our podcast, and as such, you would need to know that we have a tier list, which is how we review the individual matches on Dynamite, and I'll give our overall score on Dynamite, and we give our score on BTE. I will reiterate what we said last week. We have decided to cease reviewing Dark unless anything specifically happens on it, or it turns back into original Dark.
Enjoyed.
Where it was just the Dark matches. So, Mr. Strange, over to you to explain the tier list.
Right, tier list system. You probably know it from computer games, YouTube channels, comics maybe. It's on the internet. We only started a D. A D's our lowest rank. A D is a bad match. You've not had a good time watching that match. Maybe it's boring. Maybe it's a squash. Maybe it makes no sense. Maybe it's clumsy as fuck. Anyway, unless we're taking the piss, our lowest rank is a D. It's a bad match. From there, we rock up to a C. This is a good match. This is what we want to expect from our average match. Good wrestling. Sure, it's not blowing our minds, but we care why the wrestlers in the ring. We got story. Or maybe not, but good wrestling, good time. What you want from your average match. The pace breakers. We move on to a B rank. Next step up, or match plus one, as it's often known from us. We definitely want story on a B match, and we want some great wrestling. We don't want to be hung up on botches, clumsy moments, or slow matches. It's not blowing your mind. You're not talking about it to all your mates. But you'll talk about your wrestling friends. B rank match plus one. From there, we got an A. Generally the top of our tier of a week. You don't get much better than that. It's got to have everything. We want story going in. Hopefully story coming out. But I want to know why both wrestlers in the ring, and I want to care about it. I want to see some good, cool moves. I want to see it smooth. I don't want to be hung up on botches or people stood about waiting for some kind of top rope moonsault in a wobbly dance for 17 minutes. A-rank matches are the best thing you'll probably see of the night. You're really happy. You talk about it. You'll show your mates who don't watch wrestling. But obviously, the top of the tree, normally reserved for pay-per-views, but we do often get them on TV shows. The F-rank match, Superior, Sugoi, Special, fucking story going in, story going out, or the conclusion of the story, or a beginning of a new story. We want story. It's arguably the most important thing in wrestling. Wrestling's got to be crisp. I want to see nice, cool moves. I want to see some paradigm breaking. I want to see solid character work in that ring. I want to give a shit. I want to see some spots that I send to my mates who don't watch wrestling in GIFs. I want to be blown away and talk about it for years, like a match involving a luchador and 3 Joshis. You know what I'm on about. Everyone, mate. So D, shitty. C, good. B, match +1. A, awesome. S, fucking best. Legacy matches. That's our tier list.
Thank you very much. And now over to our news. And I believe it's been a relatively quiet week this week. A couple of bits, Mr. Strange.
Right, okay, so we've got one bit which has been pretty well advertised tonight on Monday, the 15th of March. Oh,
So
three
yesterday when
deals
I've edited this down and released it.
Yeah, yesterday, tonight. British people will be watching it today, hopefully. Who knows? It's AEW Dark Elevation. Hopefully
It's just
Go on.
old dark. I hope this is just old dark.
Yeah, me too, mate. It looks like we've got a good mix of matches between a variety of different tiered people. I am worried that some of the matches do look a bit like I obviously know who's going to win. But hopefully they'll mix some shit up and confuse us and blow our minds a little bit. And hopefully we'll get another surprise. You've got to start with a surprise if it's a new wrestling
I wonder
show.
who's winning the final.
Who's in the final?
Maki Ito versus Rio.
Oh, no.
I wonder who's winning that.
Maki doesn't need wins. She's over as fuck.
I know she doesn't need wins, but it doesn't, help the show get over on, who could win this, does it? When it's Hogan of Japan versus girl that always loses.
Not everybody knows that, though. I mean, we are specifically Joshi weirdos. We know the stuff.
Yeah.
Morg may well have expected Maki to have won some of her matches, through technique and skill when he first saw her with how popular she is.
Yes, mate.
I thoroughly expect her to be winning match, unless she has it kind of in her contract that I can't win because that hurts my character. The way she is over with that American audience, I don't think she'll be on a losing streak for very
put
long.
her in a tag team with someone that can win matches for them solo. That's how she generally gets her wins.
Just too cooler.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's tonight. That's news piece 1. News piece 2 technically isn't related to AEW through anything more than my hopes. Famous wrestler Andrade of the WWE, husbando of Charlotte Flair, has asked for his release from the WWE and has been denied. Which makes me sad because anybody who's listened to us often knows that I am a huge mark for Los Ignorables de Japón, the Japanese tweener stable led by Naito. The stable was originally founded when La Sombra, aka Andrade, AAA, and then NJPW wrestler, took Naito to Mexico and they founded Los Ignorables, or the Ungovernables. Stable of shitty tweenery, more leaning towards heels, but over with the crowd. Assholes. Randoms. And then Naito went back and founded the best-selling stable in all of NJPW. We could get La Sombra. We could have Los Ignorables AEW. And I know we don't want more wrestlers in AEW. Just fucking, I don't know. Sounds a bit shit if you go Los Ignorables of America,
Yes, mate. It doesn't sound as good. But this would be a good thing for the, conjoining of those two parties. But, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's very annoying when WC do this. We're not going to give you a release, so what are you going to do? Are you going to keep not putting him on television? Are you going to suddenly give him a push? Are you just going to make him have squash matches from now on? I'm quite surprised that the husband of Charlotte Flair isn't getting some kind of a push. I know he suffers from he can't cut promos. Which was fine when you had Zelina Vega there, but then you got all arsey about her Twitch stream and fired her.
Give him just let him do promos in Spanish and subtitle him. Have
never
some
works well, or have a translator with him. It didn't work well at all or AEW, did
There's not a million ways to do it.
No, it didn't work really well on AEW whatsoever.
No, exactly.
More on that later.
More on that later. I bet Ric Flair pushed this. Ric Flair knows how to hedge his bets through promotions. He was on the Jericho cruise. He's a smart wrestling legend. I bet he was like, they're not going to use you, mate. Go to AEW, and if anything goes wrong with the E, we've got an in.
Then Charlotte can just jump ship with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what. Well, nobody else has. Partners haven't jumped. Even Renee hasn't jumped yet officially.
It's because she's got a contract for she can't be in the same industry for 3 years or something ludicrous.
OWE.
Oh, the old Dubsy, yeah.
Yeah.
The no compete clause.
I think it may be 30, not 36, 18 months, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. Something like that.
That's bigger than the.
She had one of the biggest.
Though I suppose it's more the fact of, whereas with the wrestlers, Dubsy got into trouble with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, I believe, won his court case to be allowed to go to Japan and wrestle, because they just went, no, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The courts went, no, this is ridiculous. Yeah, this is a ridiculous length of time. Even though Brock had signed it, possibly with her commentator role, she can go and commentate baseball or other sports, which is actually what we expected her to do.
I mean, it's arguably better for a career. As much as I love wrestling, it's not big leagues.
Yeah, coaches prove that.
Yeah, not to shit talk what we're doing here.
So, talking about shit talking, it's time for our social media. I saw a segue and I jumped on it.
Good work.
Get us back on track.
Smooth.
Social media. We'd like to do a social media of the week, and Mr. Strange, you have something for us, I believe.
We got Twitter drama, boys. Twitter drama.
God, not Twitter drama.
The best arc in wrestling is always AEW's greatest heel, who doesn't work there, Jim Cornette.
Why didn't he just come out with FTR, boys? Why didn't he just come out?
Because nobody wants to work with him anymore.
It would have been golden. That real heat would have added that push to it.
He's a promo machine. I've got to give it to him. Unfortunately, he's a promo machine from the 70s and 80s.
Yes, mate.
In his latest Ripping on Revolution podcast, I don't know if he said anything good. I only listened to clips of it. But he referred to Penelope Ford as Kip's slutty girlfriend, I believe. And the internet didn't like that, and Miro and Kip didn't like that.
Shockingly.
And so Kip basically called out Cornette and called him a piece of shit. Cornette, being who he is, doubled down.
Of course he did.
I don't want to be involved in the horrors of bullying people online and such like. Cornette did use a great insult for if I wanted to insult somebody in this. Well, what he said was, I didn't say it, but I've heard if she had as many dicks coming out of her as going into her, she'd look like a porcupine. Which is a great insult. Just don't do it in real life. You save that for TV dickheads being a heel. So yeah, I can appreciate a good insult. I can't appreciate when it's when it's actually armed, when there's teeth behind it.
And there's actually there's no beef between them as well. It's not like Jim Cornette and Penelope Ford have been hating each other for ages.
No.
He's just taking wild shots at this person. You know?
Miro offered to go beat him up or something.
If Miro flicked him with his little finger, Jim Cornette would crumble to dust.
Exactly.
Yes.
Kip got angry. Kip put some shots up of him playing. Weird little side segue from this.
Yeah.
Kip put up some side shots of him taking. I don't know what a kickoff in tennis is called, but that. A serve. That's fuck me. Doing serves to obviously Jim Cornette tennis racket things, and obviously because Cornette legit has his cult online. People were like, "Oh, I'd fucking beat you in tennis, you twink," and stuff like that. And he was like, "Mate, I was in the 14-year-old championships for tennis in Britain, and I'm like this grade level of tennis player." And I was like, "Oh, a little bit of an easy smackdown from tennis. Good fact." But yeah, it all escalated. Miro put Cornette's address on the internet, I think, at one point. You can't do that.
That never does well. You should never dox someone.
I think it's dying down now. There's not been any escalation, but Jim Cornette trying to get himself cancelled on social media, and obviously he's being called a misogynist. People
all the things that he does. Yes.
People are pointing out a bunch of the things that when Jim Cornette says them in a 70s heel promo are great. And even when he's calmed down, he's great. I can't can't shit on Jim Cornette for his ability of promos, early wrestling bookings, or just his raw knowledge of wrestling. He's even a liberal person who supports all those liberal things, is anti-guns, whatever. He's got to learn to be less of an asshole.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's our news. Twitter drama. Go and have a look. You've got cultists on one side, cancel culture, cultists on the other side, cancel culture swooping in.
Oh God,
a free speech culture Twitter, mate.
I hate the
It's
internet.
an explosion. So yeah, if you want to see some good wrestling plotline, go see Jim Cornette versus
Miro and Kip.
I was going to say, do they have a stable name yet? No. Yeah, Miro, Kip, and in defense, and Penelope's been dropping some bombs and stuff back and calling him a cook and things after his whole sexual thing came out.
Yeah,
last year. Arguably, the most hilarious back and forth was Cornette and Miro. I'll beat you up. No, you won't. I might. You know. There we go. Wrestling.
Save it for the wrestling, guys. Save it for the wrestling.
Oh dear. Right. Jim Cornette, stop being such a horrible human being.
Please, you've got such good insults, and I love them.
Just save them. Just be less of a dick online and get into a wrestling promotion, then use them there. Jesus Christ.
Right. Let's move on. So it is time for our review of the week. I will double down myself and just remind you that we will not be giving a review of Dark. I will give a quick review of Dark. I have watched it. It was all right.
You want that?
Any matches worth watching?
Nothing stood out. Abaddon was on it.
I'm not having it like that. You don't know ever do the Dark thing. I'm building some hype for this. Finally, for the first time ever, Morg's review of AEW Dark.
It's all right.
Cool.
There we go.
Right, BTE, boys.
BTE, over to you. Yeah, over to you, Mr. Muir.
BTE starts off with Matt Jackson opening a box from Birdhouse, which is Tony Hawk's skateboarding company, as far as I know.
And they got some decks.
Yeah, they got some decks and some socks. Good for them. Nice little tie-in from when they had Tony Hawk's on the show, I guess.
I quite like the fact that Matt just went, there's a bunch of us that like to skateboard, lifts them off, so I thought I'd get some presents for the boys, and I just thought that was quite nice.
Yeah, that's a nice community thing amongst them.
Yeah.
Especially if your boss is doing that sort of thing.
It's like when your boss follows you around, but he's a millionaire. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the other thing, you know, he's got the money, and I just thought that was quite a nice insight into some of the attitude backstage with the
community of wrestling. Yeah.
Now we move on to the Good Bros with Brandon. And the Good Bros use one of my favourite lines, which I'd love to use. It's like, oh, come on, we're at least your 9th or 10th best friends. That made me laugh. They go on about that Brandon has to wank off because he's taken too much Viagra, so he's got to come with the boys on 3. Then we move on to the next section.
See, this made me laugh, but I think I'd have enjoyed it more if we hadn't have had, like, a couple of these other... I think this is one of the better sections of dick jokes we've had, but because I'm so buried in dick jokes.
So this actually raised a smile from the Raptor, whereas normally all the dick jokes have left her cold. And this one actually... So yes, I think if this had been the first one, we'd have probably howling with laughter. Because this was actually quite funny. And it was a better. It was
with Brandon.
And it was a grown-up 12. It was a grown-up 12-year-olds, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then we moved on to a section that at the start I was excited for, then I was crying for it to end by the end of it. Rise and the Vixens. This just fucking dragged for me, boys. If you've got anything good to say for this, please say it.
I like the team. I like the look. Whatever the segment was didn't actually conclude and went on too long. I'm with you, basically.
It was just a bit too... Yeah, exactly that. It was a bit too long. I liked if they speeded it up with the... I've got an idea. No, it'll never work. And it should have just been a bit quicker and snappier. Maybe it's just them getting used to getting their chemistry between them.
Yeah.
Then we had a backstage cut to Shaq breaking a broom by accident while he was waiting to go on. And then
That's what I want on my BTE.
Yes, mate. Then we had Matt Jackson playing with his kids with the dolls and doing like wrestling moves with his dolls. Then we moved on to the second Good Brothers section where they're with Brandon and the Bucks. And they're all going on about pulling out your gimmick and stuff like that. I like how they talk where everything is their gimmick. Like they're old-fashioned carnies, like Stone Cold always talks. Whenever he can't think of a word, he's just like, oh, your gimmick,
Yeah.
And then I fucking loved fucking Gallows going, he's gonna come! Like Vince fucking ruined me because, he's gonna
Yeah,
puke.
anything which mocks Vince, and Vince would laugh at a jizz joke. That's not...
Exactly.
He's gonna puke! It's the impression I do round the house.
Mm-hmm. So then we moved on to poster signing where they all look dead, but it's nice for them to do it. Then we had Revolution highlights for like 5 minutes. So if you haven't seen it, there's some highlights there.
Show the ring explosion, I noticed.
Should have badly CGI'd it in at the end.
Yes, mate.
Just taking the piss out of themselves a bit would have done fair for them. Then we moved on to the Dark Order celebrating at the end because Hangman's won the big money match.
Oh yeah, they've all spent his money, haven't they?
This is the most important segment on BTE, in my opinion, because this is the saviour. I'll let you carry on, Nick, and then.
No, it's okay. So Reynolds had bought 16 barrels of whiskey for Hangman with his own money. Then Ten had bought condoms, cokes, and fruit baskets, also with Hangman's money.
It gets you through a weekend.
Yeah, it does. And then basically they'd all spent his money when Hangman had just given it all away after just getting, a new mower. So then Hangman wanders off in search for an accountant to try and solve his money woes that he's going to have.
Gave Nick an extra laugh because he is an accountant.
Told you on the show next week. So then they start saying that they don't have anyone to call names with. Then Mackie comes out to swear at them and go, "What's up, motherfuckers?"
I so thought, because when they're doing who could replace Anna, and I thought that this was really good expectation. I don't know about you guys, but I was just expecting it to be Ty Conti.
I was kind of expecting Anna because I've seen her and John Silver exchanging bollocks tweets over the internet for a while, but I'm a social media observer, so I was more prepped.
Yeah, see, I just purely expected it to be Ty, and I thought that's where they're going. Who's as pretty, who can, and it's just going to be Ty will come in and she will take Anna's position, and then when Mackie came out, I popped because it was just. I wasn't expecting it, so it worked on me. And I think that's what they were trying to build to. I think that was where they were trying to go.
Yeah.
So you expect Ty.
Mackie was going to just disappear back to Japan as well. So,
yeah.
You expect Ty.
I still think she is, unfortunately, but here we are. Then we moved on to Matt eating grapes, which I thought was eating sour grapes, which I thought was really good. But it also goes back to him being crazy at one point in like 2004 or something, where he went on a grape-only diet.
What?
Yeah. So
right.
that also plays. Yeah. That's what it also plays into, because I thought, sour grapes, that's really good, but he's also taking the piss out of himself in the past as well.
He was eating them in the pro.
Do you know what? I've got to say, that segment now I know all that. That segment is even better. Yeah.
It's really good.
Me and the Raptor thought it was some strange, bizarre thing about drinking too much wine and going back to his days of overindulging. So we were both a bit confused by it. But knowing that's really good.
Yeah, isn't it? That's that. Like, I enjoyed it, but when I thought it was sour grapes and him just being weird and awkward, I enjoyed it. But now I know that's actually made it a little bit better.
Yeah, I
So,
did.
see, as
I thoroughly did expect this to be that Big Money Matt was just a stopover character towards the new character that Matt has come up with. So he's not broken, but
greatly
he's
Matt.
got a new
Matt.
version. And I just thought he was going crazy, and he's got a new version of Broken Matt, but he didn't want to just go from Broken Matt to Broken Matt. But looks like other things are afoot.
Well,
Other
we'll see.
things.
It was solid. I enjoyed this
Yeah.
BTE. It's not like anything like standout worthy, but I enjoyed it.
Is it wrestling plus one, or is it just wrestling?
I think it's just wrestling. I think it's solid C.
Just wrestling.
Yeah, I think it'd get the B had they been the ones to take the piss out of the explosion.
Yeah, and a couple of other little sharper things. Yeah, a little cleanup, it would have been a B, but it was good. But it wasn't really good.
So we move on then to Dynamite. Open as always, JL Shivani and Excalibur on commentary, and we open with Phoenix with Pac versus Matt Jackson with Nick Jackson. Phoenix wins. What did you guys think of the match, and what score did you give it?
Before we start this, I'd like to say that JR's rejuvenation treatment worked really well for around half this show. I'll tell you when it turns off, but he was quite good at the start of this show. But anyway, carry on.
I actually found the commentary during this match a little bit annoying. All they kept talking about was, and coming soon, and Eddie and Mox, and coming soon, and coming soon. I was like, what about the ring, boys?
What about this match?
This was a good match. I enjoyed this match because I'm going to probably sound more cynical than I should be. Phoenix is obviously always great. He did a bunch of different weird rope bouncy things that I've never seen before. It's
good at wrestling. I am sure.
He's just great. Like he pulled off a weird spin submission slam thing. It was wicked. This was good. It was solid. Had some good spots, really good near the end, blows into counters and stuff like that. The super kick collide was nice. It had the right winner, in my opinion. It wasn't amazing. There was a weird section of stomach strikes at one point that just didn't sell. It didn't connect as well as I would have liked these two wrestlers to connect. So I only gave it a C. I was like, it's good. I'm entertained. This is sort of what I should expect from a C. There's story, there's a reason from the ring. But it didn't overstep a line into wrestling plus one for me.
I liked the Pac spot with Phoenix when he was trying to wake him up on the outside without touching him, so they didn't get involved in the match. At some point during it, Phoenix did a really weird torture rack move that I enjoyed, apparently. I also
weird spin submission into a slam.
Yes. I got really sick of the SCU cuts. It felt really cheesy, where it's like, oh, look at them still watching the match, this was. It wasn't the best. I may have been expecting more from these two. I think the issue was, but I gave this a low B. I think it was like a B- I had given this. I just wasn't
you sounded
that
more cynical than me, but you came out with a higher rank.
Yeah, because the thing was, I see these two names down, I go, that's an A match, And then they deliver this, and it's like, it was good enough, but I expect better,
Morg.
Are you ready for Captain Positive?
Yeah, good.
He's gone.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was lots, but we've had this before. There was lots of flippy shit going on, and I like flippy shit. I just really enjoyed it. I gave it a B+. I gave it a high B. I really enjoyed this. I was glued to the match the whole time. I don't care about the SCU thing because it's story building for the SCU thing, so that didn't hurt me. Now you've said it, I can see why it would annoy you after a while, and I can see that, but it just didn't affect my viewing. It probably wasn't as crisp, and I think I probably would have expected an A from these two, and maybe I was a bit more forgiving because it's two of my favourite guys, so I was possibly a little more positive than I should have been. So I really enjoyed this. I certainly, that was very much my opinion.
I said it was good. It sounds like I'm being really critical. They were good. It's just, it didn't excel anywhere for me. But you boys have crawled it up. It's a B rank match +1.
So, following on from that, Eddie Kingston and Mox promo. Any comments, and are you going to give it a score?
Any fucking comments? This was dope. I love this. Moxley made the same high school volcano joke that I did. Just so many good moments. They're really good together. Eddie having PTSD flashback is honestly probably the best way they could have saved that moment. And the fact he was like, yeah, call me a coward, whatever, brilliant. Just fucking chin it. Good lad, Eddie. And I like the fact they were disagreeing on whether it was a joke or if he fucked it up. I like the fact that was neither denied or confirmed. The line of Impact paid for the bomb made me piss. Mox ripping on the fact it's such a cool shirt. Brilliant. The best they could have done. I gave this an A. It had good bands. It had good setting there. A rank thing for me.
I like to see Eddie and Mox happy together as well. I think that really added to it. You could tell that these guys are like, good friends.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the best you could do with this. What the fuck else could you do? You're going into this so shit low. Blessed Eddie digging them out this fucking hole that they're in. I gave it a high B, but yeah, it could be an A either way.
So it gets the A from me, and this is again something that the Raptor pointed out. It was a brilliant promo, and I don't often rank the promos. I normally leave that to you guys, but this one. But the thing that gave it the extra edge was, and the thing the Raptor pointed out was Eddie, Hardman Eddie, making the comment about the PTSD and making that that kind of thing is a good thing, if that makes sense. Owning up to it.
It's true masculinity. It's
yes,
in the traditional way. It's
yeah.
I won't go into my views on masculinity and people who look like Jeff Bridges and stuff right now. But yeah, really good way to be a strong man. Yeah, this happened. So what? Cool. I'm with her.
Yeah.
Ding. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Down to a bad segment.
Yeah.
Cody versus some guy.
So Cody with Arn Anderson versus Seth Gages. Cody wins with the figure 4 D squash. Anybody going to say anything else about it?
They should just rolled it over.
This when I thought my first note on this is a squash match for Cody joining the Horsemen. So that's where I was wrong.
Well, the problem is Cody, you're supposed to be our B player. And we don't mean that in the offensive B+ player. That we mean that is in our guy who solidly
does a good match no matter what. Yeah.
I think this was just a segment. I think this was just an excuse to have Cody out there rather than just drag him out for an interview. Following on from this, Cody in ring interview. Sorry, did you? Any of you guys want to say anything else about the match?
Just annoyed that I was wrong. I was like, he's put him in the figure 4 for Ric Flair. It's obvious he's joining the Horsemen. Then they just swerved me. So yeah, fair.
So Cody in ring interview. Pentagon interrupts with, and I can't remember his name.
Alex.
It is Alex. Thank you. I had it. I knew. I thought Alex Marvez, but I'm like, no, it's not.
That's the other one.
The wrong Alex. Translating. What did you guys think of this? And did you give it a score?
I have to be fair, because as we all know, Lucha Underground Penta is my absolute favourite wrestler. So my boy, in suit and mask, the most powerful build on the planet.
Yes, mate.
That's not just in roleplay, wrestling, real life. If you can wear a luchador mask and a suit, you are just the fucking top tier. I quite like the Alex help me thing, and I think they had fun together.
They did.
And Alex's facial expressions really helped sell what
Penta was
saying. Yeah, it was great. Bit of fun. I enjoyed it. I'm not sure Cody should have been quite as angry as it was. I'm going to break your fucking arm so you can't hold your baby. You won't. Instead, he was like, Rah! But Alex and Penta had fun. I don't think it was great, and taking aside my personal love of comedy evil Penta, I gave it a C. It was a good promo. I like those two paired together. Just felt a bit weird coming after that Cody match that just sort of happened for it, and how angry Cody was. I gave it a C. I had a good time.
I'm really happy with how much Penta's come along with his English, because he couldn't speak any last year. Let's be honest. And he's done real well with that segment. And I'm happy he's getting some fucking plot, because, you know, he's a great character. But yeah, it's nothing to like write home about. It would have been a B if when he was walking off, it had hit to his Lucha Underground music for me.
Oh.
But no.
I've been raining S's down like fucking Meltzer with stars on the Omega match. Go on, Morg.
So here we go again. Yeah, we really enjoyed this. We thought Alex did a fantastic job of getting the passion from Penta across. This is how you do people who don't speak English promos. This is actually what I was alluding to earlier. You do it with subtitles, or you do it with, or you get someone who can. So. And he didn't even do it in a managing role. He just treated it as a translator, and he threw the passion out.
Didn't say translate for me.
Yeah, he cut a great promo. The other thing I really liked was Cody was a sensible babyface. He wasn't a dickhead babyface. He was angry at Penta. He wasn't angry at the guy who said it. Which I really liked, because I hate it when they go for the... If he'd have gone for Alex for saying it, that would have annoyed me and would have ruined Cody being the babyface in this, because you're just turning into a dickhead babyface. I like the fact his anger was focused on Penta. He knew who'd said it. He wasn't an idiot, dumbass babyface.
Completely.
So yeah, I was heading more towards the B, to be honest. I enjoyed this.
It was really new and exciting and really good. I think this is what we should expect from like a Penta-style presentation. You know what I mean? I was entertained. It was good wrestling. Alex's facial expressions. Yeah, great. Good stuff, but it's a C from the other two.
No, that's
managed
cool.
to round one down.
Yeah. Before we move on, there is something I wanted to ask you both. Did this feel like a new season start? This episode?
It had a lot of things going on. Yeah, it had a lot of new shit. But I guess it's after a pay-per-view,
which is the right time to do it. So following on from that, Chuck and Orange Cassidy promo. Any thoughts? Any comments?
Orange Cassidy playing a Fast and Furious game. Good lad, get it in.
Fucking love Chuck. I love the meta, way of talking. And I'm excited for an indie scummer arcade hardcore match. That's everything I love, and it's arguably where the best friends are at their best. You know, doing mad stuff.
Doing bollocks.
I gave it a C. I thought it was cool. And we'll break you. Good times.
I'm just glad that their feud's going to be over with Miro and Kip. I'm glad that this is moving on, and it's a C from me also.
A C from me, dog.
Yeah, it was all right.
Exactly.
It was solid. It was a solid program. So following on from that, Sting in-ring interview. I got worried for a moment. I did get worried.
Please no more.
Lance Archer interrupts, which refers back to my rant from the other week.
I was so happy. He started putting Darby over, and that's all Sting was doing. And my first note is, that's good stuff. Good work, Sting, even though you won the match. Then the interruption happened, and I was like, please no. Please. And then Lance came out, and I was legitimately overjoyed. I was like, it's Lance! It's not Team Taz! Didn't rate it, but I am... I want Lance in just that roaming guy who beats people up sort of role. That's how I see Lance. I like Suzuki-gun Lance. And if he's just maintaining this thing of picking different people who are hard to fight with them, like a Warhammer orc, I'm happy. And the fact that Sting has a feud with somebody that isn't fucking Team Taz brings me joy. And I have literally, at the moment I'm speaking, just remembered the Jake the Snake versus Sting promo package from the 80s, where Jake was in a post-apocalyptic bar.
In the wheel.
And Sting came in with like lightning effects. And I've just remembered that as I'm saying that. If we don't get some retake of that sort of thing, I'll be very upset.
I think they won't because that is owned by WWF and Shotzi
Broke a
Blackheart.
Conan throne.
Yeah, because Shotzi Blackheart did the spin the wheel thing for her Halloween Havoc show this year.
But
so
some kind of mockery of it.
I'm down with it. I hope so, but I don't know if they want to get sued by Vince.
Do we think this is leading to Darby versus Lance? Is that where we're going?
Maybe?
I can't see them doing Lance versus Sting.
No, unless this is some kind of Jake the Snake Machiavellian plan and they've remembered he's really good at promos, so they're going to bring him back again. Because he's been a bit quiet since Lance has been learning. And it's good because Lance has learned, those first few Jake promos were gold. So, who knows? I'm excited to see where this goes. I didn't rank it because it was sort of a transitional thing. But I actually have excitement.
It's the setup for a new feud. Following on from that, QT and Lee Johnson backstage promo and an Ethan Page promo. Any thoughts, comments?
I really liked Ethan Page's thing of the fact that QT was taking 33.3% of his spotlight. That made me laugh.
That was good.
Never use percentiles in a promo. It's too risky.
Are we doing the match now, or are we just doing the promo section? It's just the promo section.
Just the promo.
Sorry. It's not a massive, great sections we're about to go through. I like the potential of Ethan Page, and I'm excited to see where he's going.
Yeah.
Egotistical man who speaks with numbers is like a staple of wrestling.
Yeah.
Cool.
So then we move on. Ethan Page.
Is he going to be able to beat Samoa Joe at Sacrifice?
Yes, mate.
Ethan Page versus Lee Johnson with QT. Page wins with the Ego's Edge. We'll finish it there with the match and mention what happened afterwards. What did you guys think of the match? What score did you give the match?
Lee's been working on his stage presence, and it really shows. His character's coming over a lot more than when we first sort of see him. My first actual big note here is nothing to do with the wrestling. I love Austin Gunn. I think the Gunn Club are great. One of the best rising tag teams. I love what he's done. The crowd and being, all the enthusiasm he's pushed into it. If I hear another wrestler's name chanted to the tune of White Stripe Seven Nation Army, I'm going to scream. It's every single chant now.
That is actually a thing in wrestling nowadays.
I hate it.
Yeah, it annoys me.
It's also a football chant.
So, really?
It's that level of,
It's it up this. Look, Austin, Nick Jackson, you listen to the show. Tell Austin to go to a British football game because we have the most creative songs and tunes you've ever heard.
You're in a pandemic, Strange.
Watch some old British football games. I've forgotten. I didn't go outside anyway. Anyway, this match was solid. I can't really say it was much beyond solid. Page's through the ropes cutter thing is really cool, and his little before he fucking punt kicks Lee was funny. He got his character over a bit, and I think the Ego's Edge is a fucking brutal finisher, and I love
Razor's Edge,
except it's a bit higher angled than the old. But otherwise, it was a fine filler match. We got some story. I gave it a C. Can I get a soundbite, Morg?
No.
It's all right.
There we go. My issues with this match is the storm cloud of dust hovering over it. I was just like, when's he going to be involved? That was my issue with this match. It was a solid, generic indie match, and I had a good time watching it. I just didn't care, but that's probably more on me than them. But it was a solid C match, It
was fine.
Yeah. Are you ready for Captain Positive?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, God.
It was a C. Sorry, I'll play with your expectations. Yeah, it was a C. It was an okay match. It filled what it did. It continued the storyline. Page then beat down on Johnson. QT ignores it, and Dustin comes in for the save. QT walks off.
Oh, gosh. I'm so excited for their feud.
Mate, I'm here for QT's face turn.
QT better win.
We are distinctly lacking in faces, in heels, realistically. We always said that Josh Lookalike QT is a good wrestler. Yep. If they can give him more of a gimmick than I like apples and I simped once.
Yes, it would help.
Brilliant. He'll obviously get beaten back into being a good guy member of the
Nightmare People.
The Nightmare People, unless he's going to get closer to Sammy and stuff because he's been on his vlog a lot. But let's see where it goes. We all know my issues with seeing Dustin win all the time, so I like the potential. I quite like the fact he just watched Ego beat him up. Yeah, let's see.
I don't think he'll be heading over to join up with Sammy. I think he'll be staying heel. Moving on from there, Hangman and Dark Order promo. Any comments?
It was fucking phenomenal. Hangman's selection of purple shirts grows. I'm just going to point that one out. That was a different purple shirt this week. There's a weight limit joke. The fucking
Noah nearly collapsing when they took off.
It wheeled off and you could hear him laughing. The fact that this lawnmower joke has been going since Brody and Hangman met on that episode of BTE like months ago. Yeah, I gave this Ness. I had a great time. A lovely pace break and humor break in the middle of it, and it filled me with joy and entertainment.
I think my favourite bit was when Colt nearly flew off the back of the mower.
Yes.
When it
So I have to give one piece of negative. This is from the Raptor, and I do have to say I'm not a fan of them always bullying Five, and certainly not moving on to Dynamite on BTE, where you're in on the joke.
It'll come round.
Yeah,
it's gonna build to something.
Yeah, and especially as Five was the one who took the hit for Hangman. So that's my only criticism of this. Other than that, it's really good. It was good fun, and it was nicely silly, and like seeing Hangman and the Dark Order.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they're really fun together.
No, I haven't missed it. So moving on from there, supposed to be a Christian Cage promo. Christian Cage interview, interrupted by Kenny. We have a Don Callis promo. Eddie comes down, beat down on Eddie, mocks for the save. Christian Cage comes down, and we have a Kenny and Christian face-off. Thoughts, comments, scores?
I really, really want Eddie's shirt, which just said "My hypocrisy knows no bounds" on it. And I was like, that's phenomenal.
That's a great shirt.
Right, okay, this was a very wrestling moment.
Mate, this show just went into the wrestling stratosphere of fucking wrestling bits with this. This was fucking all over the place.
I love the fact they still would neither confirm nor deny whether the ring was meant to go off or whether it was a joke. The line of... you dry hump you in the center of the ring whilst 4 sparklers go off was some of the best ripping on their own product I've heard in wrestling. And the countdown.
I'd also like to mention before that, Don Callis called Kenny the god of wrestling. So, Bruce has got to come sort that out.
Kenny shouted 69 me, Don, and I've just got Jesus written down.
Fucking ruined me, boys. I can't help it. Then when he just jumped on and started fucking acting over the top about it, that ruined me. I didn't expect it. I did not expect that.
No. I've always said Kenny wasn't cool, and I think he may have been around the Young Brothers too much.
Yes, mate.
Then Mox runs out. Mox and Eddie just disappear from reality when Christian Cage comes out. He doesn't speak. We get to see him say some words from Kenny, but we have no idea. That's twice now. Not good for a man whose gimmick was having charisma and having peeps.
Yes.
Captain, as I pointed out to the Raptor, Captain Charisma was not his heel gimmick.
Yeah, fair. Is he
if I remember correctly, but Captain Charisma was not. As I mean, in that Captain Charisma could come across as being an arrogant heel thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah, fair.
Why are you not letting the guy who used to be called Captain Charisma speak?
I don't think he's coming in a heel role.
No.
I think this section was a bit overbooked and is leading to a bunch of things. Had Eddie look like a badass, had some good jokes and presentation. I gave it a C. I think some of the moments are worse than a C, And I think some of the moments are better than a C.
Correct.
As an overall segment, it's a C.
I'm giving this +2 lol TNA moments points.
+2 lol TNA.
Because of having a random guy just join from the WC and then instantly challenge for the main belt. That's very lol TNA. Right.
Funnily enough,
this
do you
was
know who
solid.
the one guy who did that was?
Sorry?
Chris. Do you know who one of the guys who actually did that was?
Yeah, Christian. But yeah, anyway, it was solid enough. It made me laugh, but it's getting a C.
So I'm quite happy if Christian is a diversion, because I think him and Kenny will have a good match. It needs to be a dynamite match, I think, to be
100%.
honest. I think he's a good diversion, so we can build up to Eddie and Kenny at pay-per-view, because I think Eddie is a perfect opponent for Kenny to have on the way. It also keeps Eddie in that main event picture, which is actually, I quite like him in that main event picture, because his promo game is so good. And it's nice to see Eddie getting the chance to be in that part of a big name company, because I think he does deserve it, and he's proving to me, as someone who didn't know him that well when he came in, he's proving to me he belongs there. He feels like a draw, even though he comes out in his street clothes, but it works for me. He feels like a draw. So I'm quite happy to have Christian Cage. We can have a great match with him and Kenny. They can have it on a Dynamite, and then Christian can go off to do his role, which should be to be like Matt Hardy, putting over the younger guys, like Jericho putting over the younger guys, which should be his role. Maybe even a TNT Championship run.
Not for give me a year before anybody from WWE gets the title.
I'm not so bothered about the TNT Championship. I think that's fine, because they're making it very much the face of TNT. So I think anybody with a name is acceptable.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sorry, I was just having a little burp in the background. So moving on from then, we had our women's match. Britt Baker with Rebel, Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero, and Maki Ito versus Shida, Thunder Rosa, and Ryo Mizunami. Thunder Rosa wins with the Thunder Driver. Following on from that, I'm just going to put this all in. Britt attacks Rosa with the crutch. What did you guys think of the match? What score did you give it?
Right, I think I'll open, as I'm guessing I'm once again the most cynical person on this match.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, okay. My first opening comment is that Britt's jacket is fucking wicked. The gold with the double B's at the top of the Doctor Snake staff symbol thing.
Yeah.
Really good. Right, on to the match. Obviously, the opening with Maki Ito singing whilst her team got beaten on was fucking hilarious and great. Really good bit of very Japanese comedy there. Even if she's not so good at the mic hits afterwards, shall we say. This was entertaining. It had a lot of cool spots. It probably had the biggest wobbly dance I've seen in quite a while, and everybody got their stuff in, and Rosa was the standout. That's pretty much all of my notes, because it was just a bit too fucking much for me. It was hard for me to follow this match. As much as I love the wrestling and I love the talent in it, it was just a bit too all over the place, not quite focused on anyone for me. That being said, I had a really good fun start. We got story going out. I was entertained. I gave it a C.
Enjoyed this. It was a lot better than we normally get. It still had huge problems, don't get me wrong. Probably because it's 6 people in a ring, which is always a bit of a clusterfuck. The Maki bit at the start fucking ruined me also. I'm never not going to be happy when I see her do the Kokeshi. It will always make me laugh.
I just brilliant.
JR's rejuvenation treatment failed at this point. He just started going like mad again, like normal. I like Nyla's rock selling that she's starting to do a bit more of, where she just keeps walking for a second, then just collapses. You know, proper rock falling over / Ric Flair / whatever.
Nyla's really won us over lately.
Yeah,
we were cynical at the start, but she's really won us over.
I think this gives us hope for them, but I still think this is a C. Like, there is a lot of hope in here of watching this going, there are bits here that if you work well, you can really build a women's division out of. But then, we'll have to see. I'm not going to get hopeful again for this division.
So, again, yeah, it's a C. It was a good match. It was enjoyable. It was a wrestling match. It was a good women's match. It was enjoyable. Thunder looked like the standout star, which I agree with you. Strange, you just mentioned that. Thunder is someone I feel you can build a division around. With Britt, with Britt as the heel, I think those two, they've been trying to build this division around Britt since the beginning. I think you've now got them in. You've got Britt in the right place to be the heel side, and I think you've got, as much as I love Shida, and I think that Shida is fantastic.
Rose is more inspirational.
Rose has got a bit more inspiration. It's also, she cuts a better promo because she
doesn't have much of a character.
Yeah, it's horrible. She's got a character. There's something there. I'm thoroughly looking forward to. I hope to see more stuff with the Baden coming up. I appreciate the keeping her strong on Dark again, and I don't have a problem with that. As I say, she is my acceptable squash match.
Just not gonna watch it.
That's my character. Yeah, it's another acceptable Abaddon squash match, and it's acceptable because she's the only character that's not Lance Archer that I agree with having squash matches now. And I've turned around on my Lance Archer squash match thing, you see.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, because they are the two acceptable characters. So yeah, I enjoyed this. It is only a C, but we're still building this storyline. I like the fact that Thunder can't get the upper hand over Britt, and I actually like that.
She just body poor Maki.
She just can't. I know, but it's not that. It's just that she just can't. Britt keeps on shortcutting and getting these wins.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant.
And you are getting to that point where I want to see Thunder. Now, Thunder has got to now. You have got to the point where the babyface has to come out on top, but you've earned it.
Wouldn't it be nice if the Derby team Taz or a bunch of
exactly
you've earned. Now Thunder Rosa has earned the victory that will come out over this, that should come out over this. I am thoroughly expecting Britt to be the one to knock Shida off the podium, though.
Well, it made the most sense than move.
But anyway, it's nice for us to be able to talk about the women's division and all feel quite positive. And I think that you've got to keep Maki Ito. If she is not signed, she needs to be signed to some kind of deal. That girl is going to be so over, and she is another character. And you all know who I want her facing. I think Maki Ito versus Abaddon is the match. I think that is
CM
just
Punk.
Should destroy Phil. It wouldn't even be fair.
But that is, I think that is the money match there. I think Abaddon, you rebring Abaddon in.
I would rather see Yuka versus Abaddon because I know how great she is at comedy. But it would be a good match also.
Yeah, and I just think it would work, but weirdly with Maki Ito in the face role.
Never.
But I don't. I think that she is going to be a tweener. I think she's going to be too over. I don't think Maki Ito.
You're too connecting the American way of seeing faces.
This is an American show.
Wrestler.
I have to admit,
no, it isn't. It's a new show. It's a new thing.
Well, we'll.
They themselves said they wanted more complex characters than just faces and heels.
Yes, but Vince said that years ago, and we didn't get anything different.
Yeah, but Vince thinks you can only be cheered if you're a face.
But yes, we will see where it goes. But I certainly think she's going to be a crowd favourite. And as I've said before, that the problem is you have to be thinking about they're pulling in casual audiences.
She's been a crowd favourite in Japan for 3 years.
Yeah, you said
the whole thing is failure and misery. So, it can work.
Yeah. She'll be a tweener, basically. Effectively.
We live in a new age of post Thanos. You can have villains people like.
This is true. Following on from that, Matt Hardy private party backstage promo. Thoughts, scores, anything else?
I like this more now I've thought about it. I'm getting the connection between them. I like the fact he was still eating grapes. And the fact they've brought in Butcher, Blade, and Bunny makes sense because they have solely been mercenary characters since they first started.
Yeah, they're just mercs.
Yeah. I would like to explain why Eddie's not their friend anymore, or if they still have their friendship with Eddie.
Yeah, that would be nice instead of them just leaving. But yeah,
I think that was explained when they tried to stop Eddie from doing his face turn, inverted commas, to run out and save Mox.
They came out and knocked the Good Brothers aside so he could get in.
Okay, fair enough. I missaw that. I thought they were trying to stop him from going in. So I will take back that comment. I missaw.
It's fine.
I mean, if they actually build a complex plot where Eddie has mercenary friends who are working for somebody else, good times. Either way, I didn't rank it. It's a nice to see where it's going to go. I'm not hating Hardy in this particular promo.
Also, as the Raptor said, you've now got Bunny, so you have got somebody to face Anna. Unfortunately, it looks like Anna's out for quite a long time.
Won't be back for a year by the sounds of it. Well, 6 months to a year. So.
Yeah, so it's she's had quite a serious surgery. But they could have a new female join the Dark Order, motherfuckers. Just saying. Just saying.
I'd rather see her on her own or with somebody that she's comically mismatched with. Like
I think Ty Conte is the right person to step into that role. She's already
been. She's good for. Like, Mackie's good friends with Lance, so that would be a wise choice as well.
Yeah. Well, we've already seen -1 has on Dark. I think it was last week or maybe the week before. -1 came out with Ty Conte, and we all know who his crush is. Very much so.
Jesus Christ. That kid's going to look back at videos of him hanging out with these girls that closely in 10 years' time and be like, Jesus fucking Christ, look how close I was. When puberty hits, he is armed with material.
Oh, yes.
Come on, lads. Let's get back to
it. But yes, I think Ty Conte is the right one to join the Dark Order, just to cover for Anna. Moving on, Scorpio Sky versus Darby Allin TNT Championship. Darby wins with an inside cradle, and Scorpio jumps Darby after the bell. Thoughts and scores?
Darby doesn't blow up his fist bumps. We can't trust him anymore. Sorry, little observation for me. This was really good. Had a good wrestling start. We had a load of good mat work, and they're really good together. They're both. We refer to Darby as the rolliest man now because Phoenix is the flippiest man, and Scorpio always gives us a +1 wrestling match. We had the twisted ankle spot again. We actually had that earlier in the show. I don't know if that was intentional or not because he did just sort of jump down. It was good, but it wasn't what I expected. There was a bunch of great stuff in it. The tope catch into a cutter was amazing, and I don't think you should ever do that again, Darby Allin. That is diving into moves that change your momentum is how next break.
I actually honestly think, it's one of my notes, I think that was actually the safest one of Darby's topes I've ever seen because of Scorpio.
Fuck it, I was like, oh. The coffin drop into the powerbomb was really cool. I did write down Scorpio should have won. The counter over into the roll-up was good. I honestly think this match was a B, but especially with the story at the end, the story out. But I think Darby fatigue dragged it down to a C for me at the time. I've just seen too much of him, and I know he's the TNT champion. But just give us a fucking talking or video spot. I don't need to see him wrestle every week, especially when he's trying to kill himself. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is realistically a B, and that's what I'm giving it, as much as I have that fatigue.
Mr. Muir, any comments?
I just did not care for this match. Like, it was good, but there was so little build-up for it, and then they did nothing with it. So, like, the only reason you'd have this weird championship and have Sky win it is so he'd win the title, and then you don't do it. So basically Sky's just being put back into a title shot and then lost instantly again, to then instantly put him into a hold that made him tap instantly after the bell's rung. And it's like, why didn't you use that before? You know? I don't know. It was just didn't connect with me, and I'm giving it a low B. But it was good. It was a solid match. I just didn't care. That's my problem with this.
Straight B from me. When I found out it was on the Dynamite afterwards, I went, well, I know who's winning, and that did slightly ruin it. But I said last week that I thought this was too early for Scorpio and Darby. I think Darby needs to hold the championship for a little bit longer, and I think Scorpio is the correct successor. Had this been a little bit later on, I think it would have been better. I think I would have liked some more TNT matches in the background with Scorpio Sky lording it up almost like a Money in the Bank type, Gift of the Gods type affair, where know that he's got this championship match that he can
he's there and threatening.
That you can just pull out at any time. And then I'd have probably let him just pull it out at any time. I'd have probably almost done a Money in the Bank cash in, heel turn complete for a start. Darby beaten down the week before. I'm having my match on Dynamite tomorrow. You could have done it on Dark or whatever.
As long as it's not right after a match or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I don't mean a pure Money in the Bank cash in or you're facing me next week for it type thing. No. And I think that the beatdown afterwards is just suggesting to me we're going to get a rematch, and maybe Scorpio's going to win in the rematch. And
before you jump onto the next bit, sorry, I'm going to just talk over you. I am going to say something which really fucking pissed me off in this heel turn sort of section at the end. One, Scorpio's got great facial expressions. Two, afterwards, Tony Schiavone was like, oh my God, which door did he go out of? The goody door or the baddie door? Yeah. Oh, was it the bad? I hate that. We all know about the face and heel side, and anybody who watches wrestling either knows it or will learn it pretty fucking swiftly from
listening to us.
Listening to us. You don't have to have Tony Schiavone go, oh my God, he went out the baddie door. He's a baddie now. Show, don't tell. Simple story writing. Jesus.
Yes, I agree with you. One thing I did like on the upside, Darby wins with an inside cradle. There was he stole one. Jim Ross went, a classic solid wrestling move. And I liked that because it means they're not using the roll-up of doom that Dub Z overuse.
Yeah, it's a real move in wrestling.
So, on to the final part of... I gave it a B, by the way. That was my score was also a B. I did say a B, right. So, Inner Circle War Council. Sammy Guevara interrupts. MJF forms his own faction. Thoughts and scores.
Right, okay. This was I didn't score this. I'm gonna have to listen to us discuss it to get my final opinion on it. Sammy pop out was really cool, and Sammy and Chris have got great bands together, and I'm glad they're sticking together. The turn on MJF when Santana and Ortiz turned around was obvious, and it was great. And then he was building his own faction. Would have been nice if we'd seen some hints of this beyond the fact that MJF and Sean Spears were on the same side of the ring for some of the early shows. It's hard to put handcuffs on people as well, apparently. That took a while. Sean Spears remembered he's the chairman. That was nice. We've got six horsemen. Interesting. JR declared it's a coup, and I was like, how is it a coup, JR? A coup is when you take over. He hasn't taken over.
He's made his own
thing. It's not a coup, JR. I'm interested. I quite like the Six Horsemen setup. I think I was enjoying it more before they sort of appeared in the lights going out, but I believe Morg's going to rip on that for the first time ever. So I'll save that for him. I don't know. A lot happened.
I liked that MGF was one step ahead of the plans within plans, but the issue is they didn't show us any sort of build up for the second plan within the plan.
So it's a bit like BBC's Sherlock. He didn't actually solve it. We didn't see him solve anything. He just went, oh, I've done this. And you're like, oh, cool.
It was basically like, yeah, I've been ahead of you all the time. It's like, well, you've got to show us that he was ahead of us all the time, or it's just, fucking Death Note style fucking I'm better than you 5 stages into this plan sort of thing,
We've been complimenting the MJF Machiavellianiness. We've been complimenting that all across and how they're showing us the different bits.
And then suddenly, then suddenly it just goes to this. Like, I see it as the Four Horsemen. Tully's not a horseman, he's just a manager. And Wardlow's the bodyguard of MJF and not a horseman. That's how I would do it.
No, it's War, Death, Famine, Pestilence,
Burberry.
Meat, and Burberry, as Reed said.
It's good enough. I'm happy about it. It'll be interesting. I don't think you can turn the Inner Circle face after they fucking annihilated Papa Buck like 2 weeks ago. But here we are.
I think you can. I don't think that's. I think Jericho's good enough as a sale. You've got Sami in, who'd obviously turned. I think when Santana and Ortiz turned on MJF. So criticism from the Raptor was that she really wanted to see MJF finally get his comeuppance, and feeling a little bit cheated by that. And I am a little bit on that side, that it is the Machiavellian thing's great, but we do need to get to the point where MJF, who's been your mega heel, needs to get his comeuppance. But that might be when he's got a belt.
So actually,
that might be a long turning score.
As the internet pointed out to me, MJF has now successfully turned heel three times without being face once.
Yes. So,
pretty fucking impressive.
The criticism, as I appreciate when we do booking on the fly, I am the master of, and the lights go out. This was a situation where the lights go out didn't really work.
And it didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
They could have just come from under the ring, dived in.
Could have just ran in.
It felt, it felt a bit forced. I appreciate they wanted to do the big reveal of his new faction, but you could have had them just come in with face masks and hoodies, and then rip them off as they're facing, beat down from behind. They could have come in, just come in from under the ring, come in from behind.
Bring them in on horses.
No.
Don't give a shit about using animals, AEW. There's loads of them. Bring them in on horses. Horses are trained for crowds.
No, that's Hangman's. That'd be gimmick infringement for Hangman. So yeah, I like the team. I think the team will work well together. I think a mouthpiece for FTR that is not Tully, and they're not that hideous on the mic. I think the old school wrestling feel of all four main guys, if you're keeping Wardlow as just like their bodyguard enforcer guy, I think that the old really fits as a team. I think they'll gel well together with MJF as the mouthpiece. I think Inner Circle were at the point where now it was going to be, they were at that point where it was, you need to split them or turn them.
Needed a shake.
And they're so entertaining together. I think they will be just as entertaining as babyfaces. I think they will still shit talk. They will just shit talk heels. And hopefully, hopefully we won't have to have an Inner Circle meeting every week. We will have them fighting.
And we will have the blood and guts match whenever they can have people back at stage.
And most importantly, we've got Sami and we've got Sami and Jericho back together, which I think there's comedy gold with them too, and I think you can still pull that out as baby faces without much of an issue. I think the Inner Circle will probably still say a little bit. I think we will get more tweenerish side from them, and hopefully they'll just do that thing I like.
Jericho will just be Jericho.
Yeah,
he'll just
become actual rock star rather than shit talking rock star.
Washed up rock star. Yeah.
He'll just become actual, and we'll get a babyface version of the Painmaker, hopefully, which I think will be quite cool.
Here it goes. I'm intrigued. Hopefully tomorrow's episode or tonight's AEW Dark Elevation will give us some more teasers, hopefully.
Yeah, I'd like to see some. So, I think it was a B, to be honest. I think it was. I think there was lots of story. It was kind of cool. A lot of interesting stuff happened. Felt like a fresh start for everyone and the Inner Circle.
It's a B from Morg. What about you?
So yeah, I do think it was a B. I think it was a B.
The Six Horsemen is okay. I mean, I think they could have probably done a bit better with the reveal of it all. But yeah, I'm glad.
The Tell Don't Show has really annoyed me, but that could just be me being a snob.
No, it's not you being a snob. It's that they've been telling a story really fucking well. And then they just
went, there was a whole other story you didn't know about.
Exactly.
You're stupid.
Yeah, you're stupid. You didn't see this coming. And it's like, but you gave us no leads to this. So yeah, it's a B. If they had tied that in a bit better, it would have been fucking S tier, don't get me wrong, but they just fell a bit at the end.
Right, I'll concede to a B. Story structure is my most important thing.
So, there you have it. That's our review of Dynamite from last week. Mr. Strange, using the power of maths and science.
We have a fucking bunch of different mixed up scores this week, but we are mostly holding a rack of C's and a few B's at the end, so it's a high C with 2 entire LOL TNAs on top of it. It was a good show. It was full of story.
I don't think it was a great wrestling show. I think it was a great wrestling show, if that makes sense.
Exactly that. We got a lot of ins and outs, some story conclusions and some story building, but it wasn't tight and clean enough to really inspire us, and it just wasn't that as exciting as you expected from your go-home show after a pay-per-view. But good, still good, just not +1.
So there you have it. What did you think? You can tell us what you thought of the Dynamite. Sorry, stumbling over my words there. Yeah. You can tell us what you thought of Dynamite. You can give us some stuff to review, give us some ideas. You can send us something you want us to rant about. We are Wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, WrestleOP1 on Twitter. So it's another week of favourite match reviews. And this week, it's one of mine, and we have moved away. We have moved away from AEW. We have moved away from WZ, and we have moved away from Lucha Underground. And we actually went.
And we've moved all the way back to AEW.
Yeah, this is just an AEW match. Don't lie to me.
And we have moved to TNA, now known as Impact. This is an X Division Championship match. This is all 6 sides, 6-sided rings.
That's my first note.
So the story going in is Chris Daniels has been the X Division champion for ages. AJ Styles is the blessed, and at this particular point of the time is when AJ Styles was pretty much holding that moniker that has been held by many people of the current best in the world wrestler. And Samoa Joe has been this unstoppable machine that has never been beaten. It is Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Christopher Daniels for the X Division Championship. What did you guys think of the match that I chose for us?
Before we start anything with this, isn't it nice to have 2 commentators that aren't over the top, over the edge, an age department that actually know what's going on and really enjoy wrestling?
Commentary was great. If we're going on that, I'm also going to point out, I messaged Muir about this actually when we were watching it. The camera work in this is really good. Yeah. The ring's obviously smaller because I think it's only a 20-footer from corner post to corner post, and obviously it's hexagonal, so
you've got less space.
But the camera isn't always a hard cam, long shot, or a down cam. No. It's in there, and they don't show the whole ring when they don't need to. They hit every beat. Camera crew were on it. Just beautiful shot work in classic TNA.
The other thing I want to point out quickly for anyone who doesn't know, the X Division at the time was the thing that TNA was built around. It wasn't their main event, but it was what everybody watched TNA for. And it wasn't
cruiserweights in old WCW.
That was the thing. Its moniker was it's all about no limits, not weight limits. So you could get someone like Samoa Joe in there having these kind of banger matches. So yes, over to you, Mr. Strange, because you're our play-by-play type guy.
And this match was a banger. 2 out of 3 of the men in this arena were wearing chokers. It was a wild time back in the early 2000s.
Time in 2005.
I was like, oh, double chokers. We get a really great start of Samoa Joe and AJ Styles just slapping Christopher Daniels between them for the first few minutes.
That was funny.
And he's selling it great, and it's really good alternative, and they're like competing with each other for the moves on him. And honestly, it just continues. Every time I've written AJ Styles' name down in this, I've written Blessed AJ. I think I've realised how much of an AJ mark I was back then. He is fucking phenomenal.
He's trying to kill himself in this match. Fucking trying his best to die in that ring. The moves he's pulling off. Fucking hell.
Everybody in this match knows how to do strikes and sell strikes, and they look great. I'm so sick of weak chops and people not knowing they're punched, and this had it perfectly. This had great pacing, especially for a 3-man match. The rotation, rotation between each other. No one sits around too long. When somebody gets fucking smacked out, they're out for a little sequence or maybe 2 sequences, then they're back in and it rotates again, and they're all fucking great together. We get to see Christopher Daniels pull off an Arabian press with the full drop of an entire side of a ring. And, you know, it's a phenomenal move. Christopher Daniels at his sharpest with just that extra 10 years, 10, 15 years.
15 years of youth, mate, yeah.
AJ's drop kick back
is a Carter drop kick.
yeah. But he goes properly over the top.
It's beautiful.
But I think my highlight was Christopher Daniels monkey flipping AJ into a powerbomb from Samoa Joe, but then AJ counters that into a hurricanrana.
Great.
Just phenomenal. The 3-man flip spot where they're on the top with Samoa and he drops them both. It didn't look overly set up. It looked like a big man had sort of picked and threw 2 people backwards with himself off the corner rope. He didn't have to stand them up and balance them and stuff. It still felt like a fight. This was a well-paced, hard-hitting, engaging product, and it was brilliant for it. AJ's springboard moonsault into the reverse DDT catch on Christopher Daniels.
Ridiculous.
It's something Sonata does a lot for the skull end, and it looks great every time. Fucking AJ pulls off a torture rack. I love torture racks, and he pulls it off on Joe.
Yeah, fucking ridiculous picking up that man.
It's just a great match. It felt like a wrestling show. It's tight. It reminded me of like early wrestling I watched as a kid. The camera work is great. They can all strike. They all get spots. Each one of them gets to do something to stand out in their department.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the story, I would give this a very high B on Raw Wrestling. Just from it's really good wrestling. Everybody is good. It's a collision of different styles, from the very complex technical wrestling of Christopher Daniels
to the ludicrous spots.
To the ludicrous spots and flippiness of AJ's, to just the raw brutality submission machine that is Samoa Joe. With the story, it's an A. It's obviously the rise up of AJ's match, and possibly if I was in the moment at the time, riding that story, I'd have given it an S. But it's just a great match.
I think it was an S tier match for 2005. I think it was in. Off the top of my head. Point. But I think the issue is now that AEW does a lot of these matches. Not as good as, because they don't normally have someone like Samoa Joe, which I think AEW misses out heavily on, not just having a big, strong lad, you know. But
we've got Eddie as our brawler, but we've not seen him against many luchary style people.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it was definitely an S tier match of its time. Possibly, I think, around an A for nowadays. But yeah, it was solid. Great match to watch, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Also, the commentary just... You know, maybe I'm just getting fucking sick of AEW's commentary, but you know.
Look at what Dixie Carter took from us.
Yeah,
I think 3-man commentary teams are too many. Obviously, this is one of my all-time favourite matches. It's an S match for me, but I watched it at the time, involved in the story. This, I believe, is the only 5-star match that Impact has ever got off Meltzer.
I don't care about Meltzer's
No,
stars,
but forgetting, especially back then.
Yeah. They were actually rare to get 5 stars back then.
Magoo's star system.
Yeah.
I'm with him though. Yeah. It's a thing for them.
Yeah.
Literally the only record keeper for wrestling, realistically.
Yes. And as I say, I believe it's the only one that Impact ever got. It's a phenomenal match. I really, really enjoyed this match. And I really enjoyed... so on New Year, the Raptor and I introduced the Raptor to lots of matches and things that she needed to see, classic promos and things. And this was one of the matches we watched. And yeah, she thoroughly enjoyed it also.
Sorry, I just remember I was chatting to the Raptor the other day on the Messenger, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just watching a bunch of Macho Man promos," and she was like, "Oh, why?" And I was like, "Because they're Macho Man promos."
Because they're not allowed cocaine anymore, so we'll never get good promos anymore.
Oh, Tenn'll sort us out.
Legalize cocaine for wrestlers. That's all we want.
No.
Mandatory cocaine.
No.
It's not legalized, it's mandatory. Right.
Right.
Anyway.
Are you ready for me to roll the dice?
Yes, go for it.
Oh, I know what
Phil.
this is.
Phil.
I know what this is. No.
Phil.
Remember that you didn't want to know what your last match was, Strange.
Oh yeah, what is my last
You're
match?
about to find out.
What is it?
Naito versus Okada 2.
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ. I don't have 2 hours free. Nah, this is a great match. Jokes aside.
This is one I haven't watched, so...
This is the match that removed all tension from ring counts for me. It will never happen. You'll see. You'll see more.
You'll see more.
You'll never take a ring count seriously
So
again.
this is Wrestle Kingdom 14, Day 2, Naito versus Okada for both belts, for the double gold dash, I think it was.
Thank you for actually knowing the name of them. Muir, our person who actually learns matches, as opposed to me goes, yeah, it's these 2 guys who fought in Japan one year.
Another quick thing before we sign off. I'd just like to point out that this is episode 52. Which means that next week we will have been doing this for a year. There will be...
Oh yeah, boys.
Yeah. And next week will be the anniversary of the beginning of lockdown wrestling. So we'll try and come up with... We'll try and come up with something special for next week. Part of it... Yeah.
Shitty we can do.
Part of it... I might have to do a quiz.
No.
But yes, I'd like to say a thank you to Anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. If you want to find us, we are Wrestleopinionated on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor.fm. Over to you, Mr. Muir.
Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure as always. If you'd like to send us anything in, questions, anything like that, matches you'd like us to review, please send them into wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, and WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Over to you, Strange.
Once again, thanks for listening. We do appreciate it. Please click that like, share, subscribe, bell, comment, duck buttons. We appreciate it.
On the side of a sheep.
just fucking slam your face into all those buttons that do the good things for us. And if you have enjoyed it, please do share it with your other friends who like wrestling. If your friends don't like wrestling, make them watch wrestling. It's better than what they
friends
like.
Of mine.
They're no friends of
Yeah,
mine.
we recommend making them watch any of the matches we've reviewed.
But yeah, thank you very much. Athanayo. Back to you, Morg.
All that's left to be said is goodbye and good night.